Hello and welcome to the Pixel Street Podcast, episode 72. My name is Joel Campos, and as always, I am joined with the only cop I talk to on a week-by-week basis, Connor.
That's probably a good choice. I've heard most of us are pretty fucking narky.
Fucking narc. As always, sorry, I'm kind of jumbled up. Been a long day. We talk about video games and nerd culture and kind of anything we really feel like it at the time, like dogs. Sometimes we talk about dogs.
Oh, yeah, we do.
That's probably, I'd say 20% of the time a dog gets brought up. But yeah, you can find the Pixel Street Podcast on most podcast platforms on Fridays, as well as on YouTube. You can now watch the show directly on our Facebook group by searching for Pixel Street Podcast on your Facebook. Do mainly old people only use Facebook now? Is that a thing?
I feel like it, and I think Facebook kind of got canceled, it seems like. Like, nobody... I have one. I don't use it. I don't do anything with it. Like, there's no point. I don't know.
Man, we're really selling our Facebook group right now.
Oh, man, you're right. Just kidding. We use Facebook all the time. Come like us on our I can't do this. I hate Facebook. It's the worst.
If you're one of those new age millennials, you can go ahead and follow us on our Twitter page at Pixel Street Pod.
That's right. We are on Twitter, and I am on Twitter a lot more than I am on Facebook. So
same, 100%. And like the funny thing is about Facebook too is like whenever I see my grandparents or like my mom, they're like, "Man, you guys should post more pictures on Facebook." It's like, oh, if you only saw my Instagram, you would know.
Yeah, I feel like
what I do every day.
The social media stuff just like got above the older generation's head. Like they all jumped on the Facebook bandwagon, and then everything else is just too much for them. They can't keep up with it.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, I don't know, too much for them oldies to keep up with. But anyway, speaking of Twitter, we enjoyed having new people follow our content so much, and we hope to keep you around on our Twitter, our Facebook. Listen to the show. Just keep listening. With that in mind, we've decided to run another giveaway once we get close to 100 followers on our Twitter over at Pixel Street Pod, as I said before. This week, I forgot to write this out. This week we're going to be talking about some THQ Nordic moves that are happening. Ninja is back in the headlines with some Twitch controversy. Who would have seen that coming? And what's another top headline?
We're also chatting about Splinter Cell for what seems like the millionth time in the past 6 months.
And it'll be 5 million by the time it comes out.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So let's just get into the new releases coming out soon that we're excited about. Worth noting that today, the day of recording, the show will air on August 16th, which is Friday. But today we were recording on the 14th, the Wednesday before. No Man's Sky Beyond, the big update came out. And I actually think I have it downloading right now to try it on my PSVR.
I am very excited to see how that performs in VR. I think the game is gorgeous. And some of I was skimming through the patch notes earlier today, and some of the changes they made just look fantastic. I heard somebody call it No Man's Sky 2 in everything but name, essentially. So I'm certainly going to jump on.
Do you have PSVR?
I don't, unfortunately. I used to have one, got rid of it because I stopped using it. I fiddle around with the idea of grabbing another one, but I'm going to check it out on my Xbox anyway and just see how it is. I don't know. It might make me buy another one.
Yeah, I mean, I do own the game on Xbox as well because of game sharing. My game share partner has it there, but I mean, the VR aspect of it is what I wanted from the game. Even before it came out, I thought it'd be a really cool VR game. So I have it downloading on my PlayStation 4 right now, so maybe I'll give it a go. I know that I was reading online that it's kind of a rocky patch launch. There's some errors going on for some folk out there, so I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Other than that, looking through this list is another week of nothing, huh?
Yeah, it's still pretty quiet. For those that don't know, we check out the release list on vgreleaselist.com. For all the upcoming titles and just kind of talk about what we're excited about. You're hitting the nail on the head there. There's really a whole lot of nothing. I think really the only notable one in the future, well, near future, is Rad, the latest game from Double Fine, right?
Yeah, yeah. Good
Yeah,
old Tim Schafer. And then after that, really, we don't have anything notable until the 27th when we have Control, which John is going to fucking talk about every damn second of this show.
I will say a little bit of a teaser. I'm actually going to be flying out for some work business at the end of this month, and I anticipate getting my hands on some of the big releases for the year. So definitely tune in over the next couple weeks. I should have something to report back from that.
Where are you going?
So I've got a work conference in Nashville. I'll be in Nashville for basically the end of this month, the whole last week of this month.
Oh, right on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty exciting. I expect to probably have hands-on with a new Call of Duty, give that a shot, which I'm very excited about. There's some word that Cyberpunk could potentially be there in some kind of showing, so I shall see. I'm going to take some notes, maybe even post some stuff up on the Twitter page, and give my thoughts on whatever I get my hands on.
Right on. Sounds cool. I'm excited to see what you get to see and talk about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for new releases in the next week here. Let's go on to the free games of the month. So for Xbox Live, if you have gold, the free games from August 1st to the 31st are Gears of War 4, which is great considering Gears 5 comes out early September 6th, I think, if you have... Sorry, my roommate came in here.
No worries.
September 6th if you have the Ultimate Edition or Xbox Game Pass. And then what just came up I saw on Twitter, Wario64. If you don't follow him, definitely do it because he's always posting crazy gaming deals and stuff. He just posted that Forza Motorsport 6 is actually available to download right now with Games with Gold. Also, until, I guess it'll be over, but Torchlight was free until the 15th. And Castlevania Lords of Shadow is available from August 16th until the 31st. So yeah, you got two new games in Forza Motorsport 6 and Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Those two are coming, the day this podcast airs. So go check those out. You have some Game Pass games to talk about?
Yeah, there's one that actually drops today, so the day that we're recording, which is August 14th. That's Slay the Spire. It's like a card game and roguelike put together. It is a single player adventure, so definitely we're checking on that. I saw a lot of buzz about it. Some people kind of talking some good stuff about it, so worth checking out. I will also say Gamescom is coming up. I think it's another 5 or 6 days from the time we record, and I do believe Microsoft has teased some pretty major announcements for Game Pass, so hopefully something to talk about next week.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting to get a large drop of games into Game Pass at Gamescom.
Supposedly, Gamescom's opener, which is going to be Sunday, they've partnered with Jeff Keighley for somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 world premiere announcements in a almost E3 sizzle reel style. So not just Microsoft, but a ton of different developers and stuff. So
is it? Please tell me it's going to be like Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, where every single trailer just says world premiere.
Honestly, I don't know that Jeff Keighley would sign a contract that didn't let him be a part of world premiere.
I assume that he technically owns some LLC that's just called World Premiere.
Most
no
likely.
Joke. That is his company, and
that's his tag.
Yeah. That's the only reason you're hiring Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, world premiere. That's it. To be able to use those words.
I still don't fully understand what Jeff Keighley does, other than just organize events like that. Is that essentially what he does?
Long ago he was a journalist in the industry.
Yeah,
but nowadays,
he was on G4,
right? Well, yes, he had a stint on G4. Did some other stuff in the industry, but yeah, nowadays he's pretty much just setting up the Game Awards every year. He's almost become an influencer in that area. It's kind of a weird transition, but it works for him. So rock and roll.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, so look forward to some Gamescom announcements coming the next week or so. What else we got? Okay, PlayStation Plus games for PS4 for the month of August. You have Wipeout Omega Collection and Sniper Elite 4. Never played either of those games.
It is worth noting that Sniper Elite 4 is the newest Sniper Elite, so that one's definitely worth checking out if you want some newer games for no money. You know, that's always a good proposition to me. So moving on from there, we do have the Twitch Prime games as well. You have your chance to get Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap, Pumped BMX Pro, Mabel in the Wood, and Automa Chef. And then, as always, we're going to pester you with an announcement. Joel, take it away.
If you have Twitch Prime, you can get 12 months free of Nintendo Online. Just go there and click on the little Twitch Prime thing. The same place you'd get the games, and you'll see it'll probably be at the way bottom because it's been there for so long. But until September 24th, you can get 12 months free of Nintendo Online, which is pretty great because you get all those NES Classic games that are in the store now. And I haven't looked in a while, but I heard that there are a lot now compared to when it first launched.
I didn't want to pull the story either, but just a quick amendment to that. They recently filed a trademark or patent or something with the FCC, Nintendo did, relating to SNES games on the Nintendo Switch, so it looks like those may come soon.
I don't think it was any SNES games. I think it was a controller.
Maybe it was that. Something relating to it.
In like the patent image, it looks like the back of an SNES controller. So people are thinking that they're going to do the same thing they did with the NES games. Because I don't know if you remember, but you were able to purchase NES like Joy-Con essentially.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I totally forgot about that.
When that online came out. So I'm assuming their plan is to start adding some SNES games and also try and sell, some SNES Joy-Con of some sort. Which, it's weird because I never saw those NES controllers. I don't think they sell them in stores. It's only on the Nintendo website.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. I've never seen one come through a brick-and-mortar retailer. So
yeah, that's an interesting choice because I feel like if I saw it in the store, it would probably convince me to buy it.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, too. I've heard they're pretty nice quality, and they actually slide on and charge just like Joy-Cons, too. So a lot of thought went into those things.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, and that 12-month membership will stack on any current non-family account you already have. So you literally lose nothing by getting it, unless you don't have a Switch. All right, Connor, let's get into some of the games we're playing. We got to come up with names for these segments.
That's probably a good idea. Are you suggesting that we don't put a lot of thought into this podcast?
A little bit.
Yeah, you may be right. We'll workshop it, see if we can't come back with something.
Yeah, maybe in a month or so we'll have something when we remember. Yeah, speaking of, we will have new thumbnail graphic eventually. I got to get around to finish editing those new caricatures we got, putting some text in the background. So there will be a new thumbnail for the the podcast on podcast platforms. That little square you see, the album art, I guess you could say, for our mixtape.
It's fire, let me tell you.
All right, but yeah, let's get into what we're playing, John Connor. What have you been playing?
Well, Connor, I have been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses to nobody's surprise, because I cannot stop and I am addicted. I have entered the grind house.
How many hours?
So I looked just before this podcast because I knew you were going to ask that. I came prepared, and I'm about 60 hours deep.
I mean, that's not as bad considering the first week you had 40 in, so you've kind of cut that time in half.
I have. I've lessened up. I do have that travel work trip coming up here pretty soon, so I'm anticipating some fly time, and I'm going to probably grind it pretty hard during that. But I'm sitting at 60 hours, and I am probably 3/4 of the way through the campaign right now. A single campaign, so that's not like New Game Plus or anything like that. This game is a grind fest. It is absolutely mind-numbing at some points, but it's the right kind of mind-numbing that I am super, super into. So very happy with it so far.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much interest in it. I've never been into any of the Fire Emblem games. I've never really tried them, but from what I've seen of them, it's not something I would play.
I will say that the amount of quality work that was put into this is absolutely and ridiculously astounding, because you have 3 different houses that have different branching paths and whatnot, 4 different endings. I've heard talk of a 5th secret ending as well that apparently exists. And then on top of that, they have permadeath. I'm playing on casual mode. I played the old Fire Emblems on the permadeath mode, and I just wanted to take this one a little more casual this time around, since I'm a little older and don't have as much time to dump into it as I used to. And that permadeath changes things, because with all the cutscenes in the game, any of the characters could die and just not be a part of that cutscene. So things had to be rewritten tons and tons and tons of times to basically account for any scenario that a player could be in. And they accomplish it very, very well without making it feel like there's any kind of shakeup or change or unintended paths or, whatever it may be. And I appreciate that very much. I will admit, the combat is definitely not for everybody. That's kind of the thing that keeps it from being a mainstream success, though I suppose this game is as close as it gets to mainstream success. It's just all around very polished, though, and very well done. I would say if you're a fan of games like XCOM or Advance Wars, or if you played Wargroove, which is on Game Pass right now, all of those games have a little bit of DNA from the Fire Emblem series, and you may be very happy picking up 3 houses. So definitely worth checking out. It's got my stamp of approval. I've definitely talked about it enough. I'm hoping to wrap up my first playthrough within the next 20 hours of gameplay or so. I will probably report back with my final thoughts, but that's about all I've got to say right now.
Yeah, the one thing that impresses me so much about that game is that permadeath thing, because that's the one thing I heard, and that's honestly one of the things that intrigues me about it is... Granted, I probably wouldn't play on permadeath, just because, like you said, that it would frustrate me if somebody died that I didn't want to die.
Yep.
But yeah, the fact that it was written so many times and they put all of that work into making every possible situation happen, or possible at least. And
yeah.
So if there's only 4 endings, how does that work? I'm assuming that like story arc ending, right? It like not in terms of like people alive or dead.
Yes, basically. It's different story arcs depending on... basically, the way the game is laid out is you have the first 12 chapters, and I will do my very best not to spoil anything here, keep it very light. But there's the first...
I think I know kind of what you're hinting at, because I heard about it on a podcast, but yeah, go ahead.
It's first 12 chapters, which is kind of what they call part 1 of the game. And that can take up to about 40-ish hours, maybe 35-ish hours, depending on how involved you get with some of the exploration. And then at chapter 12, there's a time skip. And that time skip fast forwards you a little ways, and then you're thrust back into it with all of these characters. And basically at that point, all of the like recruiting different people or picking people up from different houses, that ends. That's totally over after the time skip. You're kind of locked in with your choices at that point. And then you play through to like chapter 20 or something. And then up around there's where you make your choice, which kind of locks in which one of the 4 ending paths you're going to go down. The only one that's kind of an exception to that rule is the secret ending. That one deals, I think, strictly with the Black Eagles, and there are some relationships that you have to build in order to get that special ending. So,
how big of a time hop are we talking here?
5 years. It jumps ahead 5 years.
Oh, okay. So everybody essentially looks the same, or did they redesign?
They redesigned everybody. Actually, that was one of the most impressive things when I got to that time skip, was that all of the characters were totally rebuilt with new clothes and everything, and actually look older. They don't look like just the same version of themselves with clothes or anything like that. Like some characters will have longer hair or shorter hair. Like they totally changed up their cosmetics. And then the other cool thing is that they some of them, like your class heads or the leader of the different factions, will actually have special classes that they have access to, as well as some of the characters may change class while you're away for that 5 years. It's pretty interesting. They do some good work there.
Yeah, you see, all of this stuff you're saying really intrigues me, but like I said, the gameplay, I'll have to go in. I haven't seen any videos of this game, but I'll have to go in and watch some videos. But of what I've seen of previous Fire Emblems, it's just not for me, the whole game style.
I will say that this is the most accessible Fire Emblem they've ever made, and the most convoluted Fire Emblem they've ever made. There are a million systems and a million plates that you're juggling and spinning all at once, and it does kind of get a little difficult, but the good thing is that you can kind of tailor the experience to become whatever you want. So I think if you were ever going to jump in, this is the one to jump in with, but I certainly will admit that it's not for everybody.
Yeah, but like I'm saying is like everything you've described, like the time jump, the permadeath stuff, that all sounds so cool, and I think it'd be so cool, but like for me personally, in a different like genre of game.
Right on.
So I don't know, like maybe like some sort of just standard RPG, like Witcher type game or something like that.
The best way that I could ever describe Fire Emblem to somebody in the most basic layman's terms is chess. It's essentially chess. Different units have different ability types or movement sets that they can make, and you're basically playing a high level version of chess with like D&D rule sets thrown in. It's very, very cool.
Right on. So to end all this Fire Emblem talk, I just have one question.
Sure.
And I think I asked you last week. How many anime titties you seeing in this?
Oh man. So pre-time skip, there is not a lot, because we're talking like young adults, still kind of old teenagers, so it's a little kind of like on the fence there of legality. But after the time skip,
you could still tell.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure you could you were probably like, oh man, I really hope there's a time skip in this game, huh?
Yeah, no, but yeah, after that time skip, they definitely, some of the costume changes, quite a few of them are very cleavage focused. I will say that.
That's funny. All right, this podcast got real creepy. Moving on, I'm going to talk about some games. I have 2 on my list here because I haven't really played much in the past week, but I do plan on trying out No Man's Sky VR. I might try and boot that up tonight, but either way, I played through all of Gears of War 2 between Sunday and Monday night. Sunday morning, I played for like 4.5 or 5 hours. And then Monday night, I played for 2. And I actually streamed that the last 2 hours. But yeah, Gears of War 2, it's a great fucking game. I think I only played through that game once or twice, a long time ago. And this time when I went through, I actually went and picked up all the collectibles that I had missed. So I actually got some achievements for it, which was cool. Have you played through all the Gears games?
I have, indeed. It's been quite some time since I've done it. But yeah, I have done all of them, including Judgment, which I never want to talk about ever again.
Oh, yeah. That was the first one we played through. We played through Judgment, then we played through Gears of War Ultimate Edition. And after we beat that, I thought, like, going to Gears of War 2, I was like, I think I said on the podcast, like, man, it's going to suck because, the graphic fidelity of the game is going to be, Xbox 360. But Gears of War 2 was actually X-enhanced, and it played in 4K, which was pretty awesome.
Nice.
So, granted, yeah, it didn't look as nice as, like, Gears of War 4 in 4K, say, but it's still, like, it held up. Like, I thought that it was going to look all granular and crappy, but yeah, I thought it was all going to be in 720p. But the funny thing is all the gameplay is enhanced to 4K, and it looks great, but all the cutscenes are still in 720, and it definitely shows, because they probably couldn't upscale those for some reason.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff's pre-rendered, so I would imagine there's some trouble with that, but that's strange.
Yeah. But yeah, Gears of War 2 is great. The story. You think I can go into the story? I mean, it's been out a long time.
I would say so. When did that game release? Has it been over a decade?
I think like '08.
I'm gonna look right now.
I think late '08.
Yep, November 7th, 2008. It's been 11 years. We can definitely talk about it. If not, if you are afraid of hearing Gears of War 2 spoilers in anticipation for the next Gears, just mute the podcast or stop listening. Go play the game. It's really good.
Yeah, so anyway, to get into it a bit, for some reason in my head, I thought that all the Dom and Maria stuff, like where he finds his wife who's essentially a zombie now, I thought all that happened in Gears 3. So when it started happening in Gears 2, like, you know, because it's like kind of builds up towards it where you're like looking for Maria. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh no, it's going to happen. And like I had to make sure, you know, my girlfriend was out of the room at the time when we got to that scene, because that's a hard scene.
It is. It really is.
But yeah, that I think is, in my opinion, one of the best scenes in all of gaming, all of games, in my opinion at least. That one really hit hard for me for some reason. But
well, not to riff on it too hard, but honestly, I think that is one of the most impressive things that I've ever seen done, because they took this like macho, muscular franchise that was Gears 1 and broke it down and made people cry in Gears 2. And that was just such an incredible thing to see back then, you know. Games like Last of Us were kind of few and far between, so games that made you feel something weren't really as big, I suppose. So that was huge.
Yeah, and the way that they did that cutscene was great, because like you find her essentially in like a some sort of drop pod, I guess you could say, and like you open it and then she comes out and she looks completely normal, but really what you're seeing is through Dom's eyes. Is like, you know, he found the love of his life. Like she looks fine, and then like Marcus says, he's like Dom, like says his name, and then it completely changes and you can tell that she's like a zombified like version, like her skull's like cut open of herself. And so like they pulled that off so well, and that's part of what made, you know, people get so emotional about it. But yeah, I could talk about that scene for days. Other than Gears of War 2, the story was great. I have some pictures and videos. I gotta post them on my Twitter because I have a whole thread going. If you follow me on Twitter at Campo63, where I've been posting images from all the Gears games as I play through them. Other than that, I've been playing Halo 5. I've been playing a lot of SWAT. That's my game mode of choice. And I played through my 10 placement matches, and I ranked Diamond 2 or Diamond 3. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of that, considering I have not played Halo 5 in a long time. I think since I went to that Halo Outpost, it's really resurged my love for Halo. So as soon as I'm done playing through all these Gears games, leading up to 5 and including 5, I think I'm going to go back and replay all the Halo games, including, you know, Reach, ODST. Hopefully Reach comes to MCC soonish, hopefully by Christmas time, who knows. But yeah, along with Halo Wars games, I think 1 and 2 we're going to throw in there as well.
Yeah, I've been interested for a while in replaying the Halo games, especially with Infinite coming up, because they talk about Infinite being much closer to a Halo 1 or a 2 or even a 3 than 4 or 5. So if you get on that, let me know, because I might do that with you.
Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, yeah, so that does it. The game. John, what have you been playing?
That's really good to hear, John. That's really, you know, that's an interesting take.
We'll just record a whole like track making it sound like he's saying something, but we lost his file or something. All right, let's get into some of these news articles. First up, we have an article from IGN.com written by Matt Kim. The title reads, Fortnite apologizes for selling seemingly reskinned dog pet, offers refunds. Epic Games is offering full refunds for the in-game Gunner pet dog item that players claimed a similar version of the item was offered as part of a previous battle pass. Epic also announced the pet will be removed from the game. Earlier today, Fortnite added a new pet dog item to the Fortnite shop named Gunner. Players could purchase Gunner for 1,000 V-Bucks, which costs about $9.99 USD. Unfortunately, Gunner bears a striking resemblance to a Season 6 Battle Pass pet named Bonesy. So, have you seen this at all?
Until we pulled it, no, I did not. And looking at this is I don't get it.
It's the same dog, but like a different color, essentially.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know if I could go that far. It basically looks to be the exact same thing.
If I'm playing Fortnite and I'm running behind somebody with either of these on, you're not going to be able to tell a difference.
Absolutely. They are 110% same geometry all the way through, and it's barely a reskin.
So, fun fact, I read into another article further, and the one on the right, the new one, is actually the one on the left wearing a mask. If you look closely, it's like a yellow mask.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a mask that you can barely see. Sure.
It's just, and I think part of why this is so controversial is that Fortnite came out and said, like, we will never, like, take a skin that they created and slightly modify it and sell it again. Like, they've come out in public and said that. So when this came out, people realized immediately, and, of course they're going to get backlash about it.
Yeah, this is this doesn't feel good.
It's like predatory towards kids and, anybody who's vulnerable to, like, there are people, like, I don't know anybody in particular, but there are people who probably feel the need to collect everything in this game. All these skins. And for them, good on Epic, the Fortnite team, for coming out and saying, all right, we're going to give refunds and take the skin out of the game. I think what they should do is say, hey, if you have this original skin, all you got to do is go in your menu and it'll change it to this other variant. But
yeah,
and just not charge for it. You know what I mean?
Or, give it out to everybody refunds, or whatever it may be. I agree. This is a strange situation, though, because it's like, how did something like this get passed? Because you imagine they've got to have a QA team that has to go through this stuff and refine it, check it, make sure it's all good to go. And then the fact that it's being sold, anything that's sold, whether it's a microtransaction or not, I'm pretty sure has to be certified. So there's a whole nother team that has to look at it to cert it.
Well, I mean, to cert it, all they got to do is like prove that they're different, which they are slightly different. The bandana on one has a logo.
That's fair.
So in terms of like marketplace side, like, it passes. That's fine. Their job is just to look at it, see that it's not exactly the same, and let it through. But the fact that the Fortnite team, like, they've come out and said that they're not going to sell the same skin slightly modified, like a different color variant of it, and then they essentially did just that, and like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up, and it really makes me wonder, like, how much of this was a happy accident and how much of this was like, we need money. Yeah, I wonder if we can get away with this. Nobody will notice.
So throw a skin on that dog's head.
Yeah, and, put a mask on him. Let's give him a different name, and boom, you got $10 more.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that this fucking thing was $10.
Yeah,
man, they're getting away with highway robbery with this thing.
I've always thought the skins in Fortnite were a little pricey. This being a vanity item, though, and not even a character skin, is just makes me feel real gross.
Yeah, I agree. The skins in Fortnite are way overpriced. The only one I paid for was the NFL one, and that's because I know that that's probably not going to come back because that's kind of controversial.
Yep.
Showing NFL players holding guns is not the best look.
You're right.
Did not realize that. But yeah, like, and like the prices, because like essentially if you want to buy the skin, I think it's like typically for like a full, like your character skin, I think it's like $20. And then if you want to get the matching glider and the matching pickaxe, it's like another $15. So it's like $35 total.
That's
which
crazy.
Is insane.
The games industry is in such a weird place. Don't get me wrong. I don't have issues with microtransactions that are done right. I think there's a good way to do them and a bad way to do them. And this just seems like a lot of money. And the unfortunate thing is that a lot of companies are doing it at this pricing. Like, I think Apex, it's about the same thing, $20 for a character skin. And to me, that's crazy. Like, that's far beyond the point of impulse buy territory. In business, they call it like reasonable value or so, and that's just kind of past the reasonable value because you want to get somebody to make that impulse purchase. $5, $10.
If that was $5, then they'd
easy
get way
impulse
more
purchase.
sales.
But $20 makes it a hard sell and just kind of a head scratcher, and I've always thought that. So very
$20,
weird.
$20 like 10 years ago was a sizable DLC for like Gears of War 3.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
and now it's one
DLC.
skin.
Yeah, now it's one skin for a game that's like a game as a service that could potentially, I'm not saying that Apex won't be around, but like we saw with that Radical Heights game, Cliffy B, potentially could just burn to the ground because something better might come out.
Well, and not only that, I think the bigger thing here is that this is a game that's designed to be online only, and once everybody kind of moves on from it, the servers aren't populated, or maybe they get shut down or whatever it may be. You have these purchases that all of a sudden there's nothing you can do with them. Like, you spent $20 on a John Wick skin that, good luck doing anything with it 5 years from now.
Yeah,
that's just wild.
The funny thing is I can't wait for like in 30 years when, like, say Fortnite is completely dead, which who knows in 30 years. I could see it still being around. But anyway, say Fortnite, huge game, is dead, and then like somebody decides like, all right, we're gonna throw a 100-man LAN party. We're all gonna download this file of this game and fucking sync up. Oh man, that sounds awesome. Just the logistics of it sounds cool. But yeah, let's move on. If you want to take another article off of this list.
Let's see. Let's chat about Dead Island 2 for a second. That's an interesting one. So this article is on Game Informer. It's written by Javi Gwaltney. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. I'm sure I did. And it reads, Dead Island 2 changes developers once again. Over the past few years, Dead Island 2 has emerged as one of the industry's biggest question marks. The game was announced in 2014 with Jaeger Development, which is the Spec Ops: The Line guys, taking over the reins from Techland, which had left its tropical undead shores. That must be a typo. They made Dying Light, essentially, instead of Dead Island 2. After a press showing at Gamescom 2014, Deep Silver revealed a year later that Jaeger was no longer developing the project, with Sumo Digital, best known for Team Sonic Racing and working on Crackdown 3, taking over development in 2016. Today, THQ Nordic revealed in a financial report that a new driver is in the seat once more, with Dambuster Studios, that's the guys behind Homefront: The Revolution, having taken over development. Their statement reads, "We have entrusted Dambuster Studios with the Dead Island franchise, bringing the development of this key franchise to one of our internal studios. They are now leading the development of Dead Island 2. This is interesting because Dead Island 2 has just really had some tumultuous times. I think we've only gotten one trailer for this game, one or two trailers, and both of them were that weird jogging trailer, if you remember that, with like zombies being murdered behind. I think the guy's wearing like headphones or something. They would be AirPods now, but he's kind of jogging along, and there's all kinds of zombie attacks and stuff running behind him. And
I remember that trailer. I think I actually enjoyed it.
It was interesting.
Well, what year was that? 2014, right?
Yeah, yep. It was shown at Gamescom 2014, so that must have been when it was shown, which I actually, funny enough, today watched the reveal trailer for Dead Island 1, which was a definite trip down memory lane, because I remember that trailer having nothing to do with the game whatsoever, just like number 2's probably has nothing to do with the game. So kind of weird. Go check those out. But yeah, this is the fourth time that it's switched developers. This thing just seems to be in project hell at this point. I don't know that this ever sees the light of day. But if I remember right, there was a lot of issues with Dead Island 1, and I do believe that was pushed back and halted several times. So maybe that's the formula it takes to make a Dead Island game. I'm not really sure. But yeah, this is strange, and if we ever get this game, I'm definitely concerned at its quality.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's gonna be interesting to see how it shapes out. Like you said, the quality of from history of any game that's switched studios, even one time, it comes out and doesn't end up doing great. Doesn't meet expectations.
Right, and the thing is that traditionally, a lot of people would say that more development time is good, but that's not always the case. I mean, you look at games like Duke Nukem Forever, that was in development hell for 10 years, a decade, and that game was garbage. It was not good. Never play that video game. We should round up all the copies and burn them.
I'm glad that I never got too invested in that franchise, because I'd be so there were so many diehard Duke Nukem fans, and now they don't even have hopes of another game.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And to be honest with you too, looking at Dead Island 2, it's not even something that I would say that I want at this point in the games industry. I mean, you look back at number 1, and while it was revolutionary for the time, you have much better games existing in that genre. Dying Light was absolutely phenomenal. Probably one of the best games of the past decade or so in the zombie genre, if not games as a whole. And, Dying Light 2 is on its way. I just don't know that Dead Island 2 has a place in the industry anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree, because it's going to be kind of outdated. I feel like the industry's just passed it on. But also, who knows what they're going to be doing with Dead Island 2?
That's
maybe
true.
It is more of a Dying Light-esque game.
They could do some fun stuff with it. They could reinvigorate it, add some new systems. And maybe that's why this development is taking so long and why it's changed hands. Maybe they're just trying to find that secret sauce, if you will, of what makes Dead Island 2 relevant in today's games industry. So definitely one to watch. I wouldn't get your hopes up on seeing the game anytime soon, though, as I assume each time it's changed developers, it's probably scrap production every single time. So it's probably going to be a while, especially with this news, before we see this come out. This was actually part of a full financial report from THQ Nordic. I just wanted to make a quick note and add another story onto this. During that same financial presser, they actually gave some news and updates on some other franchises they've got going on, and one of those was a new Saints Row. This article is also on Game Informer, also by Javi Gwaltney, and it reads, "A new Saints Row is on the way. It's been quite a while since the last outing with the goofy gang of Saints Row. Agents of Mayhem marked a decent holdover for fans of the series, but still wasn't Saints Row. Luckily for those fans, a new entry is in development. Publisher THQ Nordic revealed the news in an interim financial report, which reads, Volition is deep in development of a brand new Saints Row game, the first full entry in this much-loved series since Saints Row 4 was released in 2013. Not a lot to go on specifically, but the fact that it's a full entry as opposed to a standalone slice like Gat Out of Hell is enticing." This one's kind of interesting. A few months ago, we talked about THQ having a ridiculous number of projects in the works for the next couple of years, and this must be one of them. I kind of feel the same way about this as I do Dead Island 2, though. I've never been huge on the Saints Row stuff, but I really feel like the last couple games have been pretty lackluster altogether, and I don't see this one doing enough to, I guess, come back in a big way and make an impact like the first couple did. Because the first couple were really just popular for being essentially a wackadoo parody of Grand Theft Auto, and that's a little tired trope nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really been into the Saints Row games. I played one, I know. I think because I was just excited, like a new, at the time I was like a freshman in high school or something like that. Just excited for like a new Grand Theft Auto type game, to try it out. And I remember enjoying it, but I remember it kind of being like a cartoonier version in a way, if that makes any sense, like physics wise.
Yep.
But yeah, I think they definitely have a big enough following of people that would, buy a new game. Because, I mean, they released so many versions of Saints Row 4, and I never even played that game. I think I own it probably. It was probably a free game with Gold or PSN or something.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. I played 1 and 2 back in the day, but 4 just... I don't know. Something about it just seemed outdated for what it was. The driving physics were a nightmare. The rest of it was very kind of ragdoll-y and strange. So if this sees the light of day, I would love to see kind of a reinvention, if not kind of soft reboot for the series. Is the course they've been on just feels really tired at this point. So I don't know. Something to keep our eyes on and check out as it hopefully we get some more information on it. And I just want to reiterate that with these financial reports, there was no gameplay, no other news or anything related to these 2 titles that was given. So this is very, very light stuff to go off of, and could be full reboots or whatever it may be. Just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, right on. Moving on, let's get into some more Ninja news. This article comes from Game Informer. It's written by Imran Khan. The title reads, Streamer Ninja upset about Twitch using his former channel for explicit content. Earlier this month, Tyler Ninja Blevins announced that he would be switching to Microsoft's Mixer platform for his future streaming career. The exclusivity agreement was a big boon for Mixer, which has long struggled with channeling Twitch's Amazon-backed dominance and theoretically took Twitch's most popular streamer away from them. Since then, Twitch has been using Ninja's username and channel to promote other streamers, which took an ugly turn when one streamer Twitch promoted began airing pornography on their channel. Putting aside that using Blevins' 14.7 million follower channel for advertising other streams seems somewhat petty, Twitch ended up recommending an account airing full-screen pornography with a streaming thumbnail on the page. Twitch then had to apologize to Blevins over the incident. The lewd content that appeared on the Ninja Offline channel page grossly violates our terms of service, Twitch CEO Emmett Shear said on Twitter. We've permanently suspended the account in question. We have also suspended recommending other channels on the channel while we investigate how this content came to be promoted. For his part, Blevins posted a video tweet today, upset about the issue, saying he had been trying to get the Twitch channel shut down, implying that the service wasn't...
I think it's acquiescing.
Man, I've never heard that word. Implying that the service wasn't acquiescing to his requests to close the channel down before the incident. The problem adds to a fairly rough few months for Twitch, in which Blevins has left. Popular streamers got banned and unbanned. A streamer was criticized for abusing a pet, and other incidents. So yeah, this is shady, man, because I follow Ninja on Twitter, and I saw he tweeted like the first one about them. So the situation is, Twitch was they were testing a new service, which I imagine was only created because Ninja left. And this service is that it'll essentially auto-host other channels in a way. Like, it'll show you a different channel that's online when somebody's offline. And I totally get Ninja's, being mad about it. Not only because of the pornography factor, that's ridiculous in its own, but the fact that, like, he doesn't want that channel up. He doesn't want anybody to be promoted there. And Twitch, knowing that there's still probably hundreds of thousands of clicks on Ninja's Twitch every day, even though he's not there, they're going to take advantage of it by hosting other people because they want their money one way or another. It's just shady.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been following this pretty closely, and forgive me if I reiterate this, but feature that we're talking about here, where they promote other people's streams on an inactive user's account, is actually a very, very new thing, and they only announced that after coming under some heat and backlash from this whole situation. They came out and said that essentially it was them trying a new thing. But no matter what way you slice it, I mean, from a business standpoint, don't get me wrong, it makes sense because you want to retain those viewers. You don't want to lose all those people to Mixer. You want to find a way to get those people onto content. Justin Wong, one of the former heads of Twitch, actually wrote a really, really good piece on Twitter about it that I recommend checking out. And he talks about how basically their objective is to get people into content as quick as possible. They do not want any downtime whatsoever. That's why they've introduced features like hosting people. So if your page is inactive, you can host another streamer to kind of pull users over there, because if a user's not watching content, their bounce off rate of getting off Twitch at that point is very, very quick. So that's kind of their whole strategy behind this. But it's a real dirty thing to do to Ninja specifically, because he, formerly obviously was the Twitch golden boy. He was the biggest guy on there, and then he switched to Mixer. And what I want to know is, what did Ninja see behind the scenes that made him make this jump? Because, granted, there was obviously a lot of money involved from Microsoft, I'm sure. And it was a great move for him because Halo's getting ready to come back in a big way, and this allows him to kind of partner with Microsoft for the Halo franchise and, kind of blow that up in a way that Halo hasn't been mainstream in quite a while. So good stuff there. But I wonder if there was some stuff he saw that just made him unhappy and kind of pushed him out the door even more. Because if you would have asked me 2 months ago, I would have told you that there's no way Twitch slows down anytime soon. There's no way that Twitch will not be the biggest streaming platform in the next 6 months or a year or whatever it may be. And this is all happening so quickly, it's mind-blowing. And I say that as somebody who streams on Mixer. I think you're on Mixer too, right, Joel?
Yeah. Mixer.com/Campos63.
Shameless plug.
But either it's all shady, and like you said, it's all happening so fast, and it just makes them look really, really bad.
It does. And you talk about the people that were abusing their animals on Twitch. Did Twitch do anything to them? Absolutely not. There was no action taken whatsoever. You talk about Dr. Disrespect breaking California law and filming in a bathroom not once, not twice, but like 3 times. What did Twitch do to him? Banned him for like 2 weeks. This is a very clear, direct result of Twitch's inaction and reluctance to really do anything.
Yeah. But yeah, going back onto the whole kind of auto hosting thing, how they didn't come out and say anything until after. Essentially, they were caught. Like clearly, that's a feature that they were working on because Ninja left.
Right.
Because they're like, oh shit, we need, hurry, let's put out this fire by, we don't want to lose all this money by, because they probably saw immediately, like, all right, he's not streaming, but there's hundreds of thousands of people trying to go to his channel every day.
Yep, absolutely. And they have to try to do something, there's not, they can't just sit there as a business and not do anything. And I want to make it clear too that, Twitch didn't promote pornography. Like somebody at Twitch didn't say, hey, I'm going to promote porn on Ninja's channel. It's not a conscious decision somebody made. Basically, the way it works is it finds trending streams, very popular ones, and it pushes those to the page as recommendations. Kind of the similar how search algorithms work, Google and whatnot. So it wasn't them making a conscious decision to kind of host pornography on his channel, but basically there was a stream that had pornography that was gaining traction, and they just hadn't done anything about it because their content protection or whatever you want to call it is so poor at Twitch. This actually happens a lot. I don't know if you've seen, but it seems like there's one of these very questionable streams that pop up all the time, and they just don't get taken down fast enough. And that's it getting so popular and gaining traction is what caused it to be a part of that algorithm and get promoted on his channel, which is just crazy.
Yeah, I think that the biggest argument about this is the fact that, like Ninja said in one of his Twitter videos, like he spent years building, his brand and getting this huge following. And the fact that they would just like even if it's not a porn, like a channel streaming porn or anything, but like what if it is somebody that Ninja does not want to associate with himself? You know what I mean? Like maybe because he tries to be fairly clean on his streams now because he has like a younger audience. What if it's somebody who's swearing every other word? You know what I mean? Like that could ruin, that could take viewers away from him in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of takes that control out of the streamer's hands and really takes it back to Twitch making those decisions, or an algorithm making those decisions. And it's very frustrating. And I think that not only was this damaging to Twitch's, community view or whatever you want to call it, I think they really just scorched earth their relationship with Ninja. If you would have asked me a week ago before this, I would have told you that, I think that maybe there's a future in which Ninja could go back to Twitch or make the decision to go back or whatever it may be. But after this, there's no way he ever goes back to Twitch.
Yeah, and it's not even that it's his decision. Like, I'm saying it's not Twitch's decision. I think that his decision would just be like, no, like, fuck that. I don't want to go back there.
Agreed.
But yeah, it is what it is. I'm sure that more and more stuff is going to start coming out about his channel. I feel like the next step is going to be that his whole channel is taken down, if it has not already been. I don't think it has, but let's follow up with, we got 3 smaller articles to go over and then we'll wrap it up.
Sounds good to me. Do you want me to take one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So I will take a real quick short one. EA has been promising a Need for Speed before the end of the year for probably the past 9 months or so now. All their financial calls, all their investment stuff, it's all been talking about a new Need for Speed. We just hadn't known what that was until just now. So today, actually, there was a trailer that dropped for the newest Need for Speed entry, which is Need for Speed Heat. This article comes from Game Informer, and it's by Matthew Cato. Electronic Arts has released a reveal trailer for November 8th's Need for Speed Heat, so release date right there. A tale that appears to adhere closely to the series' tentpoles of crooked cops, customization, and wild racing. The game takes place in fictional Palm City, where players street race by day and escape the police by night. Along the way, you can customize your car, build up your garage, and roam the streets of the open world, taking on any challenges that come your way. Quote, our fans have been clear that they want more cars, more customization, and more challenges, end quote, says Riley Cooper, creative director at developer Ghost Games. Quote, and we're tuning up on every aspect, end quote. The game goes in a wide release on November 8th, but EA Access and Origin Basic subscribers can start playing for up to 10 hours beginning on November 5th. If you're an Origin Premier member, you can get unlimited access to the game at that time. Not much more to say about this. It's a pretty short trailer. Definitely go check it out. We'll try to link it on the Twitter page so you can see that. It does look pretty cool. This is a follow-up to Need for Speed Payback. I don't think it's related in any way. But Payback was a little lackluster. Hoping this is a little bit better. Nothing left to do but wait and see.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be picking it up. Honestly, I'll probably wait until it goes to EA Access. But yeah, I mean, Need for Speed, it's been kind of rocky the past few iterations, but hopefully they can have a big resurgence with this one.
Yeah, I've been itching for a good racing game for some time.
The trailer, I don't know, it had too many cuts for me. Like, it was too jumpy. I was like, no, I just want to see what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed weirdly story-focused, like they always try with the Need for Speeds, and I'm worried that's going to kind of convolute this one. I've got high hopes, but I don't know they'll be met.
Yeah. Moving on, the next news article we have is from Game Informer, written by Imran Khan. Cross-save comes to Destiny 2 next week. Just before E3, Bungie announced that they would be taking Destiny 2 to the next logical level and letting you play the game anywhere you happen to own it, with those with those same Guardians. If you switched to PC or want to join friends on Xbox One, you can transfer your characters at a then unspecified date. Now it seems that Bungie is ready to launch their cross-save initiative next week. The news comes from a fairly pithy tweet?
Pithy, I think.
Pithy tweet from the Destiny 2 account alongside an associated frequently asked questions post. So yeah, it's coming August 21st, which is next Wednesday. How is that going to work? Do you know, like, is it like a one-time cross thing?
Yeah. So basically what's going to happen with this is if you have it on multiple places, so you do have to still buy the game. This doesn't transfer your purchases or anything like that. But basically what happens is when cross-save goes live, there is a site on Bungie's website where, or a tab rather, where you can click in and log into your Bungie account and link whatever accounts you have. So if you're on, Xbox or PlayStation, wherever it may be, you log into those, it'll pull up your characters, and then you basically have 3 slots, and you get to choose what characters you want to pull from. So let's say you've got a Warlock on your PC you want to pull, you've got a Hunter on your Xbox you want to pull, and a Titan on your PlayStation you want to pull. You click those as your masters, and then those guys become populated across all of your platforms. Unfortunately, you do lose all of the other ones that you had progress on, so I would recommend kind of switching any guns over. I agree. I think it's definitely fine, but I would recommend switching any guns over or anything, and taking care of that before you make that transition. But basically you just choose like a master save, and then anywhere you play from then on forward will just automatically update. One quick note to that too: any silver that you've purchased on any platform will remain on that platform, as well as platform-specific weapons. So if there's PlayStation-exclusive exotics that you have, you cannot take those even though you move your character.
That makes sense.
Yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, coming up real quick, we'll probably talk about it next week.
Yeah, I don't own all the DLC on PC, but I imagine once it, lowers in price, I'll probably pick it up there because I love the way it runs on PC.
I agree. I will note on that topic that Destiny New Light is still scheduled for release later this year. New Light is essentially where they make the game free to play. So be on the lookout for that. And most of the DLC up to this point will actually be free too. You only have to buy the latest 2 or 3 DLCs in order to play the newest content. But free to play is pretty awesome. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, definitely check it out. One of my favorite games for sure. I need to get back into it, so I just have not had time.
Yeah, I've taken a few week break with Shadowkeep coming up. I'll probably grind pretty hard then, but I'm with you.
Yeah, I still have to do some of the raid stuff. I haven't done it all. I only did 2 in Destiny 2. But either way, moving on, you want to take this last article?
Sure. So this one also comes from Game Informer by Emran Khan. This one reads, Ubisoft CEO says Splinter Cell will be revisited in different forms. It's been quite a few years since Sam Fisher, the protagonist of the Splinter Cell series, has headlined a brand new game in 2-decade-old series. While fans have been begging Ubisoft to do more with the goggle-wearing super spy, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot has said that the pressure on a new game is too great. Now, Guillemot is changing his tune a bit and appears to be hinting at a new game, but ducking the pressure entirely by going a different, unspecified direction with it. While in China, Guillemot spoke with the outlet GamerSky and confirmed that a new Splinter Cell project is in the works, but don't expect it to be a traditional Splinter Cell game, though. There will be, this is a quote, there will be some new types of experiments, end quote, Guillemot answered when asked specifically about Splinter Cell. Quote, but on more different devices, we are working a little bit on the brand today to come back at one point. We can't say when because, as you know, it takes time, but each time we have to find the right experience to come back big. End quote. The bit about different devices seems to imply that Ubisoft is looking into other avenues other than traditional consoles. At E3, the publisher showed a new mobile game titled Elite Squad, which brought together playable characters from multiple Tom Clancy-branded games, including Sam Fisher. This might be an indication of what Ubisoft plans to do with future Splinter Cell titles. So, basically just confirmation of all of the teases and nonsense and leaks that we've been putting up with for months. that they are bringing Splinter Cell back in some way, shape, or form in the future. But it sounds like it's going to go through a bit of a reinvention or an overhaul, which is a little disappointing, to be honest with you. I think that the way Splinter Cell has been for the past couple of years has been pretty satisfying, and I don't really see too much of a problem with it. But it does seem like they disagree, and we will be getting some kind of new experience. It also could be spin-offs or, maybe different experiences that aren't full-fledged games, which I guess is cool.
It's a mobile game.
Oh man, please don't say that. That's
I
painful.
I could do a VR game. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think maybe a VR experience would be cool. I'm definitely open to some other stuff with Splinter Cell, but I think the people just want a damn Splinter Cell game.
Yeah, I think the real news here is that we're not getting a real fully fledged Splinter Cell game for quite a while.
Yep, that seems to be exactly what he kind of was hinting at here. Is that you better wait.
Yeah. All right. And with that, we wrap up episode 72 of the Pixel Street Podcast. As always, send us topics on our Twitter at Pixel Street Pod. We don't have a topic of the show this week because we were kind of unorganized and did not tweet out. But yeah, send us topics there. Look for our tweet. Usually on Tuesday nights, Wednesday mornings, we'll tweet something out talking about how we're going to record and we need topics. Go to our Facebook, Pixel Street Podcast. To all you grandmas and grandpas out there, go to the Facebook. You can find us on Fridays on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can find us. My name is Joel Campos. Follow me on Twitter at Campos63. Mixer.com/Campos63 as well. Connor, where can we find you?
Sure, so I'm on Twitter at TheRealBirch. That's Birch like the tree, but with no I. And I'm also on Mixer.com/Birch, again with no I. It's just the way I like it. Don't ask questions. John, where can we find you? Thanks, John.
All right, John, back to you. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up episode 72. We will see you here next week.
Bye.